Did you know for young Frankenstein, Gene Hackman learned about the film through his frequent tennis partner Gene Wilder and requested a role because he wanted to try comedy. He volunteered to play the blind hermit for free. It was 4 days of shooting for about 4 minutes of running time. 2. Gene Wilder constantly cracked up during takes. According to Cloris Leachman, he killed every take with his laughter and nothing was done about it. Shots would frequently have to be repeated as many as 15 times before Wilder could finally summon a straight face. 3. The original cut of the movie was almost twice as long as the final cut, and it was considered by all involved to be an abysmal failure. It was only after a marathon cutting session that they produced the final cut of the film, which both Gene Wilder and Mel Brooks considered to be far superior to the original product. At one point, they noted that for every joke that worked, there were 3 that fell flat, so they went in and trimmed all the jokes that didn't work. 4. Mel Brooks initially thought that the walk this way gag was too corny and wanted it cut from the film. But when he saw the audience's reaction to it one night at a screening, he decided to leave it in. Did you know for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, director Tobe Hooper claims to have gotten the idea for the film while standing in the hardware section of a crowded store while Christmas shopping? While thinking of a way to get out through the crowd, he spotted the chainsaws. 2. There were lines of gibberish written in the script for Leatherface. Tobe Hooper would sit with Gunnar Hansen and tell him what the lines meant, and the actor had to figure out a way to say that without actually speaking. In the scene where the old man comes home and starts yelling at Leatherface about the door, Hansen remembers a take where he communicated a little too verbally. Hooper told him there was too much intelligence in the character, and the shot was redone. "My one chance to have a line," says Hansen. 3. Gunnar Hansen said that, during filming, he didn't get along very well with Paul A. Partain, who played Franklin. A few years later, he met Partain again and realized that Partain, a method actor, had simply chosen to stay in character even when not filming. The two remained good friends up to Partain's passing. Did you know for Psycho, director Sir Alfred Hitchcock was so pleased with the score written by Bernard Herrmann that he doubled the composer's salary to $34,501. Hitchcock later said, 33% of the effect of Psycho was due to the music. Ironically, he was originally adamant that there should be no music in the shower scene, but he was persuaded by his wife to give it a try. The screeching violins and dire strings which would inspire the music for Jaws, ending up selling the scene and driving theatrical audiences beyond anything they had ever experienced. 2. Director Sir Alfred Hitchcock bought the rights to the novel anonymously from Robert Bloch for only $9,000. He then bought up as many copies of the novel as he could in order to keep the ending a secret. 3. When the cast and crew began work on the first day, they had to raise their right hands and swear an oath not to divulge one word of the story. Alfred Hitchcock also withheld the ending part of the script from his cast until he needed to shoot it. 4. Although Norman Bates typecasted Anthony Perkins, he said he still would have taken the role, even if he knew the character would dog his career. Did you know for The Shining, Stanley Kubrick considered Robert De Niro and Robin Williams for the role of Jack Torrance, but decided against them? Kubrick did not think De Niro would suit the role after watching his performance in Taxi Driver, as he deemed De Niro not psychotic enough for the role. He did not think Williams would suit the role after watching his performance on Mork and Mindy, as he deemed him too psychotic for the role. According to Stephen King, Kubrick also briefly considered Harrison Ford. 2. Much like the casting of the character Jack, Stephen King also disliked the casting of Shelley Duvall as Wendy. King said that he envisioned Wendy as being a blonde former cheerleader type who never had to deal with any true problems in her life, making her experience in The Overlook all the more terrifying. He felt that Duvall was too emotionally vulnerable and appeared to have gone through a lot in her life, basically the exact opposite of how he pictured the character. 3. Stephen King has never understood why people find this movie so scary. 4. According to Shelley Duvall, the famous Here's Johnny scene took 3 days to film and the use of 60 doors. Did you know for The Thing? This film opened the same day as Ridley Scott's Blade Runner. Both movies met with unfavorable reactions by critics after the premiere, and they were beaten by the more positive Steven Spielberg's E.T. the Extraterrestrial, the biggest hit of that year. 2. Two characters in the movie are nicknamed Mac, which is Macready's shorthand nickname, and Windows, which is a nickname inspired by the fact that the character always wears glasses. Since the film was made in 1982, this is purely coincidental, and has nothing to do with Apple's and Microsoft's famous rival tech brands. 3. At the cast and crew screening, the actors including Kurt Russell believed the film had lost a lot of its relationship work due to the monster effects, and matte painter Albert Whitlock called the film offensive. Only Rob Bottin and his crew believed they had made something amazing. Most of the actors also changed their minds about the film in later years. 4. The film is considered a benchmark in special makeup effects. The effects were created by Rob Bottin, who was only 22 when he started the project. Did you know for Halloween, from a budget of $300,000 over a 20-day shoot, the film went on to gross $47 million at the U.S. box office? In 2008, takings that would be the equivalent of $150 million, making Halloween one of the most successful independent films of all time. 2. Because of the film's tight budget, production designer Tommy Lee Wallace had to use whatever he had at his disposal or had to buy materials cheaply. When he created the Michael Myers mask, he made 2 versions. The first was a Don Post Emmett Kelly smiling clown mask onto which they put frizzy red hair. They tested it out, and it appeared very demented and creepy. The other mask was a 1975 Captain James T. Kirk mask that was purchased in a costume shop on Hollywood Boulevard for $1.98. It had the eyebrows and sideburns ripped off. The face was painted bluish-white. The hair was spray-painted brown, and the eyes were opened up more. After testing out the mask, the crew decided that it was much more creepy because it was emotionless. 3. Half of the $300,000 budget was spent on the Panavision cameras so the film would have a 2.35:1 scope. Donald Pleasance was paid $20,000 for 5 days' work.